All right, hello everyone. This is Miss Daniels coming back to you again with part 4 of your science lesson. And today we're going to be talking about the circulatory system. In our previous videos, we talked about the skeletal system, we talked about the muscular system, and we talked about the nervous system and how they all function to help you maintain health. Today, we're talking about the circulatory system. So first, let me say, we're going to talk about the respiratory system in the next part to our lesson. So it's important, though, that we know that the respiratory system helps us do what? It helps us bring in oxygen into the body. Remember when we talked about rest? When you rest, you breathe the most, right? You breathe and your body is resting and taking in all that oxygen and circulating it throughout the body. So it's important before I read this question here that you kind of recall a little bit about what the respiratory system is, and that it deals with our lungs and it deals with bringing in oxygen to the body. So the respiratory system brings oxygen into our body and eventually to our blood. What role does the circulatory system have in making sure oxygen gets all over our body? Again, I'll say that. I'll repeat that. What role does the circulatory system have in making sure oxygen gets all over our bodies? So take a minute to think about what you have previously learned or what we learned about this in class, because this is a review, because we did talk about the circulatory system. And I want you to take a minute to kind of just engage your thoughts as to what you recall about the circulatory system. You can write this down on a sheet of paper. You can share it with your cousin, auntie, uncle, grandma, sister, brother, whoever's with you at the moment. If there's no one home and you're just kind of watching your videos on your own, that's great, shows independence. So now I want you to just take out a piece of paper and pencil and jot down what your thoughts are as to what role does the circulatory system play or have in making sure oxygen gets all over the body. Just write what you think. This is a good time to stop the video so you'll have time to write or discuss that with your family member, and then I'll move on. All right, if you need more time, be sure to pause the video and then continue on. All right, so the main parts of the circulatory system are the heart, the blood, and blood vessels. This is the structure of our circulatory system. Now, remember, if you recall in the previous video, structure means the main parts. What parts do we have to put together to build the whole thing, okay? The whole thing being you, your body. So in our circulatory system, the structure that, or the main parts are the heart, the blood, and the blood vessels. What is the function, or what is its job? How does it work? The circulatory system is to carry water, gas, nutrients, and waste throughout the body. And all of that travels through your blood. So blood that is low in oxygen is collected from the body. So your circulatory system's job is to go around and collect all this blood that is lacking oxygen, right? And then it carries it toward the lungs and the heart. And it carries it through the lungs and the heart through blood vessels called veins. So all of those little veins that you see running through your hands and your feet, those are all carrying carrying blood that is low in oxygen back up to your heart and lungs. And then the blood that is high in oxygen, so from this point, it kind of skips this part, it goes into the lungs, right? And then the lungs then transfers the oxygen that you just breathed in into your blood, okay? And that high, rich, oxygen-filled blood then travels from the lungs and the heart to the rest of the body through a different kind of blood vessel known as your arteries. Now, we'll talk more about this in detail as far as what your arteries are versus your veins when we talk about the cardiovascular system. And if you remember, the circulatory system and the cardiovascular system are kind of one and the same because they both deal with the heart and they work together to help circulate all the oxygen-rich blood throughout the body. So we'll talk about more about that when I post your video on the cardiovascular system. molecules. So now I want you to go back and I want you to answer this question. What role does the circulatory system have in making sure oxygen gets all over the body? Now, don't be afraid to pause the video, write the question down, go back and use the different slides that I just showed you to help you form your accurate answer. I want scientific words being used. I want you to be a scientist and think about this in a scientific way. Yeah, there's one way to explain it, but what's the science behind it? What are the terms that you learn to use to apply to your answer? So I want to make sure that you're being little scientists or little physicians or doctors and really going back and thinking about how does the circulatory system help to circulate oxygen throughout the body. Use the notes that we just discussed. And on Friday, we're going to go over this together as a class. So be ready to share your thoughts. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them down below in the comments, or you can reach out to me through Remind. And I look forward to seeing you guys on Friday at 2:30. Bye.